Hi there, welcome to another tutorial on Yarn Craftee. I'm so stoked for today's pattern because I really love the project. Okay, so I've used a paint box yarns metallic DK for this pattern. It's a DK weight yarn and it's a blend of 5% cotton and 45% polyamide. So even if you're not able to get this particular yarn, you can substitute with other DK yarns that matches the gauge and has good stretch to it. Okay, it should have some good stretch because this yarn is soft and stretchy. And we need a 3.5mm hook, we need stitch markers, we need a tapestry needle, scissors, and measuring tape to measure out the armholes, and some other bits. So this pattern is made from 3 panels. We have the back panel, which is just one straight rectangular piece, and it's for this pattern. This is 66 rows, okay, and 2 front panels, which are decreased at a point. So we need the 2 panels for the front and then 1 panel for the back. I'm going to show you how to make one of these, and then we make another panel just exactly the same way. After I do this, then you can do the back panel. The back panel follows the same number of stitches, the same number of okay, the rows are half. The rows on the front panel are half of what you have on the back panel. So for the front panel we'll have 66 rows, and for the back panel we're going to have 33 rows, depending on the size you are making. So if you're making one that has 70 rows for the back panel, that means the front panels will be half of each. That's 35 and 35. Okay, so we're going to start with a chain of 92. Now this is for the size that I'm making. There are about 8 sizes in the pattern, so please check out the written pattern. It's free on the blog. You find a description for all of that in the link below. Okay, I'm going to chain 92 now, and we're going to skip the first 4 chains. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to skip the first 3 chains and do a single crochet into the 4th chain. Chain 3. Now skip 1 chain, single crochet into the next. Chain 3, skip 1 chain and single crochet into the next. This is what we're going to do all the way to the end of the row. Alright, we're at the end of the row now. Okay, let me mention that when you start with your slip knot, leave about 6 to 8 inch tail, so that this is going to be useful later when we want to sew the shoulder. Alright, now onto round pattern row 2, we're going to chain 3, turn, chain 3, and single crochet into the loop. Chain 3, single crochet into the chain 3 loop. Chain 3, single crochet into the chain 3 loop. So we're going to repeat this all the way to the end of the row, and at the end of the row, turn again. See, there is a chain 3 here. The chain 3 we skipped at the very beginning. You're going to work into that as well. Okay, do not forget, because you know it looks very small. All right, at the end of the row, turn again, chain 3, and single crochet into chain 3 loop. That is what we'll repeat. Repeat that for the next couple of rows till we need to start decreasing. Here we are on row 15. Okay, this is the last row made here, 14, and we're going to skip this last chain 3 loop. Our last stitch will be made in the second to the last chain 3 loop. Now we're decreasing, shaping out the front panel, the neck. So chain 3, turn, or turn and chain 3, same thing, and single crochet. Okay, so we're just going to repeat everything we've been doing now all the way to the end of the row. At the end of the row, turn, chain 3. Okay, we're going to repeat what we did on row 15, and we will skip the last chain 3 loop on the row. It's row 15, so we're heading on to row 16. Yeah, row 16. Okay, this is actually row 17, okay, not row 16, because the last row where we skipped, when we didn't work, this is row 14, and this is 15. Okay, we skipped this on row 14, and then next is 15. And in row 16, we walked all the way back. On row 17, we're going to be skipping another chain 3. We'll skip another chain 3 loop, the last one. And 18, we're going to work the stitch across, no skipping any loops. And then 19 will be the same. We will skip the last chain 3 loop. So basically, we're going to repeat what we've done. Repeat rounds 15 and 16 all the way down the front. And depending on how many more rows you need to make for the size that you want. So please refer to the written pattern for that. Once you complete the front panels, on one of the front panels, do not snip the yarn, leave the yarn attached to the piece. We're going to continue working with this, and you want to mark out the armhole. The armhole here is 7.5 for the sides, and you also want to mark out some 7.5 as well on the front panel, on the side, the middle of it. So 7.5 armhole. So use the same measurement as the armhole for the point to mark out in the front of the panel. Okay, let me point out that when you sew your shoulder, okay, we have this last chain 3 loop here, which is supposed to be sewn to this edge here that's marked, but we're going to leave this out so that we can make our stitches, we can join our stitches into this shoe instead of sewing it. So basically what I'm saying is, when you're sewing your shoulder, leave the last stitch, the last stitch row. Do not sew it together with the back panel. All right, now we're going to chain 1 and turn. Chain 1, turn. Into the chain 3 loops, we make 2 single crochets. Chain 1, 2 single crochets. Chain 1. Okay, this is the last chain 3. We're going to do 1 single crochet in there and join it into, we're going to join it into the second front panel, into the chain 3 loop that we marked. So we're going to do a decrease, a single crochet decrease, and into the next one, joined. Now we're going to do another single crochet into that same chain 3, because we're making 2 single crochets into each chain 3 loop. So when we do 1 single crochet into the last chain 3 loop, we'll do a single crochet, 2 together, a decrease, and we'll continue to do a single crochet, do 1 more single crochet into that loop, chain 1, 2 single crochets, chain 1, 2 single crochets, now we're at the same level, we've leveled it. We're going to start working up to the shoulder now. Okay, so at this point we're going to chain 1 after the last 2 single crochets here, and then in the chain 3 loop we'll do 2 single crochets, chain 1, in the chain 3 loop 2 single crochets. Okay, chain 1, we'll repeat that. We'll repeat that all the way to the last chain 3 loop here. Now I have the last chain 3 loop here. I'm going to do 1 single crochet in there, and I'm going to work another single crochet in here and connect it to this chain 3 loop on the back panel. So we're doing a decrease from this last chain 3 loop in the at the front, and this other chain 3 loop at the back. And I'm going to make another single crochet in there, and chain 1, single crochet into chain 3 loop, chain 1, single crochet into chain 3 loop at the back. The chain 3 loop at the back is not so obvious because it was a turning chain, but the point is chain 1 over the single crochet stitches and single crochet into the chain 3 turning chain. So in the last chain 3 loop on the back panel, we make a single crochet there, and we will do a single crochet decrease and join it into the first chain 3 loop at the front panel. That's our decrease. We will do another single crochet into that same chain 3 loop, just like we did on this side. Now chain 1 and 2 single crochets, because now we're working on this side. Chain 1, 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets in chain 3 loop. I have a last chain 3 loop here, so 2 single crochets in there, chain 1, and I'm going to join into the chain 1 that we made here at the beginning when we started from here, when we turned, when we chain 1 and turned and started working stitches. Notice that I'm working with the wrong side of the single crochets facing out. Okay, chain 1 and join into that chain 1 space. So we're done with shaping out the neck snipper yarn. Now we want to join the front stitch. We want to join the front panels. Begin from the bottom here. So into our chain 3 turning chain at the bottom, and the next we'll join with a slip stitch, and we'll chain 2, pull out a little tail so that we can sew that in, weave it in rather. Okay, chain 2. Now after this first chain 3 loops, we'll go into the next chain 3 loops. So we're going to be joining through the chain 3 loops. We'll go in on the left, from the left panel, and make sure that your yarn is behind the hook and connect to the next panel, the second panel on the opposite, the second chain 3 loop on the opposite panel. Okay, now you want to pull out that yarn and make a slip stitch, chain 2, in the next chain 3 loop, in the opposite chain 3 loop, pull yarn, and pull through, chain 2, into the chain 3 loop, opposite chain 3 loop, pull out yarn, pull out the loop, chain 2. So that's how we're going to be working this, joining the front of this top. Now I'm going to close up the last 2 chain 3 loops. I'm just going to repeat what we've been doing, but you need to be careful at this point so that you come out at the right point. You know, this is our SC2 together that we made while joining these 2 together. Okay, and pull out your yarn, and we're done with joining the front panels. Pull out your yarn. We're going to weave this in. After that, we're going to be making the sleeve. Now we're going to be making the sleeves. So it's just a simple repetition of the body. Okay, so from where we marked out, you want to begin by inserting the hook into the chain 3 loop and single crochet into the next space, next chain 3 loop, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 3 loop. That's how we're going to repeat, that's how we're going to work the row. When you get to the middle here where you join the shoulder, we're going to make a single crochet decrease. So into the very last loop before we enter the front panel, and into the very first loop, chain 3 loop on the front panel, we'll make a single crochet decrease, and we'll continue with our chain 3 single crochet, chain 3 single crochet into chain 3 loop. At the end of the row, chain 3 and turn. Remember, this is a repeat of the body. It's just exactly what we've been doing all along. Then single crochet into the very first chain 3 loop, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 3 loop, and continue to repeat that. On row 2, we're going to skip the last chain 3 loop here, which was the very first one we did on row 1. We're going to be decreasing on some on a few rows. Okay, then continue with single crochet, chain 3, chain 3, skip the last chain 3 space here and turn, single crochet into the first chain 3 loop. Okay, so what we're going to do on the next few rows is to repeat row 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we're going to repeat in row 3. So we'll be skipping the last chain 3 loop of each row until we begin to work even rows. Now I'm going to stop decreasing. So this is 8 rows. On the 9th row, I'm going to the chain 3 and single crochet into the very last stage. So I'm just going to continue with chain 3, single crochet in chain 3 loop all across the row. I repeat that for the next few rows. Okay, once we're done with the sleeve, it's time to join. Okay, so if you're wondering what all these stitch markers are there for, I'm actually going to be joining them by slip stitching. I'm not going to sew with a needle, but you can do that if you want. You can sew the parts. Okay, this is the wrong side. Fold it up. You can sew with the needle and the yarn. You just sew all the way from the sleeve all the way down the body. But I want to avoid that, and just to have lesser tails to weave in. I know this might be tedious because I have placed each stitch marker row on each row, and I will transfer some more down here by the time I'm done with the upper part. And if you don't have stitch markers, you can always use the hairpins. This is the last row. I'm gonna chain 1 and join into the very first stitch, and I'll chain 1. Okay, what we're doing now is what we've done just like we joined the front panel. The difference is we're not going to be chaining 2 on this part yet. So I have taken out the stitch markers from the from row 2, counting down, and join in here. The purpose of these stitch markers is to guide chain 1 so that I know exactly which rows to be working into, and so that they are properly aligned. Okay, and then into the next stitch, chain 1. I know this looks tedious, but it's just the best way, so I don't have to struggle with trying to figure out which row I should be working into or joining together. And into the next. So that's just how I'm going to repeat that all the way to the last row, which we began with, where we have a stitch marker as the very last row. As you progress, one way to be able to match each row is to look at the stitches. When you have a single crochet stitch here, if you're Okay, if you're going to join from a single crochet stitch here, which I'm doing now, the next the opposite row will be into a chain 3 and vice versa. So if I have a single crochet here, and then the other part, the other side where I have to join into will be a chain 3. So that's going to be really helpful to figure out the rows that you should be joining so that they can align properly. And the same goes if you decide to actually sew this and not go through all this hassle like I am. In through the single crochet stitch, and in through the chain 3 loop. Once we finish that, once we slip stitch in the last stitch row, we'll chain 1. Now we're going to start working into these spaces at the bottom. Okay, note that we have one right here where we joined the yarn when we began making the sleeve, so do not skip that one. And we have it right here at the back, so in through there and in through the base here. So we're going to chain 2 now. What we're going to do now is everything that we did, the same way that we joined the 2 front panels, is the same way we're going to join the side. Okay, make sure you're checking so that your rows align. Chain 2, join and join, slip stitch, chain 2. We're going to repeat that all the way down. And we have the last stitches here, chain 3 loops. It looks like there is nothing here, like see, this is obviously longer than the back one. So, but there is a loop here where we began from. So we'll go in there. After chaining 2, go in there and go in to the last one and finish off. Chain 1. Now we're gonna weave in the tails. Quickly show you how to do that. Okay. I'm just going to go in here. I'll go back in here to close up that part. And this is how you make the chain loop top. This is one very stretchy fabric we have here. So whether you block it or not, it's going to stretch. Alright, thank you for joining me on this tutorial. And don't forget to subscribe to Yarn Craftee and like this video as well. Also, when you make this top, go ahead and share with me on Instagram. Don't be shy. Tag at Yarn Craftee on Facebook as well. I love to see it and I like it and I'll share it too. And you know, it's just going to be really encouraging. Alright, so I'm going to see you in my next video, right? Alright, see ya. Bye.